Hey there. It's Tuesday here, and hello to all the regulars, Ron and Alexi. And uh, you, it's like our time lapse is glitching a little bit. I want to apologize for yesterday. I found out the volume levels were kind of turned down. There was a setting here on one of my broadcaster programs that had gotten flipped where it wasn't supposed to. So I think we're good to go now, and hopefully we can get things up and running for today. Here's the Texas weather map. Now we've got the U.S. satellite. Let's try that again. Everything's working against me here. There we go. See a big change up to the north here. Got a little cold front working into the Texas Panhandle and into western Oklahoma. And just north of that front, you can see this band of precipitation with some low-level forcing just behind that front. But elsewhere ahead of the front, it looks like we're kind of dominated by high pressure out over the eastern U.S. Not quite the Bermuda high, but kind of a backdoor modified polar air mass, and that's putting most of Texas under an easterly flow south of that front. Surface observations looking like this. Better moisture is a little ways to the south, mostly down in the I-10 corridor. In the DFW area and up to Oklahoma, dew points are a little bit drier, looking at mid to upper 60s there. So let's switch over, and this is a digital atmosphere chart I was trying to use yesterday. I know probably some of you couldn't hear this too well, but I like this because it has a lot of the topography on here, and we can really get in here and see terrain interactions and air masses moving through the mountain passes. So let's check it out. I'm going to paint that cold front on here. And you can definitely see the northerly winds just ahead of that. And as we get into Colorado and the higher terrain, that shifts into easterly and southeasterly winds. So here we have a little bit more of an upslope flow from around Dalhart up to Lamar. But you can see there's been a little bit of damming. The cold front has not pushed south like this. It's being blocked on the western periphery by the front range of the Rockies right here. Looks like it's made a little bit of progress into the Buena Vista, Trinidad area right there. So it's probably come a little bit through the mountain passes there. This is a very deep air mass. But out to the west, conditions still kind of warm. See that temperature difference in Colorado? We go from upper 50s and around 60 on the high plains to mid 60s and 70s out through Grand Junction and whatever that station is right there. And that temperature difference becomes very prominent in the wintertime. I've seen a couple weather situations where we have temperatures of 0 to 10 out here, while just west of the mountains we'll be in the 40s and even 50s. So that's one thing to look at there, is your contrasts on either side of a line that runs north and south in Colorado. So we're going to be seeing more of this as we get into winter here, fall and winter, as these air masses get deeper and move southward through the plains. So let's move up to the northern plains and get another look at this. Here you can see the easterly flow and southeasterly flow there in Wyoming. So a little bit of upslope here, probably getting some clouds through eastern Wyoming there. But how far west has this front gotten? Well, here we can see northerly flow in Idaho. But in Nevada, and I'm going to have to move down to let you see this, check out those southwesterly winds there in Nevada. So it looks like we have a cold front aligned something like this. So this frontal analysis out of the mountains is pretty tricky, and you do have to look at all the data and look at trends if you have that kind of information. But once you get all that in place, you can pretty much place these fronts and keep track of them from hour to hour. Looks like things have cooled down a little bit in the Phoenix and Las Vegas area, not seeing those hundreds we had yesterday. So looks like things are moderating there just a little bit. And can't forget the east. Let's check that out. Need to scroll this around, move up to the northeast. Looks pretty tranquil out there. Just seeing southwesterly flow in Ohio and Indiana. But just north of that, here comes the front. Sneaking there into Illinois and maybe northern Missouri right there. So that's going to be the next big change coming for the Midwest. So let's head back to the charts and look at the satellite picture. I've just told you about the fronts, so maybe we can find some of that on the infrared satellite imagery here. So remember I drew out that front in the Great Basin area. It looked kind of like that. Then we had the polar front going through Colorado. And you can definitely see the upslope flow here in Montana and Wyoming. And we can tell that this is low clouds because the gray or the brown shading here is very dim. We don't have like very white cloud elements that are all colored like right here in New Mexico. So this is all stratocumulus and stratus. Upslope flow coming into the higher terrain, very humid and saturating there. And so this area is kind of primed for a little bit of baroclinic development. And here we have a new system coming across Nevada, getting some showers with that. So this whole zone, getting kind of messy here. That's a frontal zone right there that's probably ripe for development. So we'll keep an eye on that. Looks like even another maybe baroclinic system right there through New Mexico. I don't know, maybe it's kind of upper level. I don't think there's really a frontal boundary through here, so this is probably just a little upper level wave working through. Then going into the central U.S., looks like we got some weak thunderstorms there from Chillicothe, Missouri, out to around Falls City, Nebraska. Maybe we can pull up the radar and just check that out real quick. So we'll just fire up GR level 2 here, and any chance we get to look at severe weather or just thunderstorms, might as well jump on that. So I'm going to scroll down here to this box and let's see, I guess maybe Omaha. So we'll wait for that to come up here. That'll take just a second. Hopefully it doesn't degrade the stream because it's got to pull in a 2 meg file, and believe it or not, I'm on 3 megabit per second DSL here. But I'm out in the country, and that's just how it is. Okay, we should be coming up soon, and while we wait on that, let me just switch back and see if there's anything else to look at. We've got a new tropical disturbance coming on the Florida coast. See that here? And you can see very cold cloud tops. These are probably tops up to 50 and maybe even 60,000 feet here, just off the coast of Savannah and Jacksonville. Maybe we should look at that too. So this is going to be working on shore, and it's losing the access to latent heat, moisture, warmth as that comes on shore. So that's going to disrupt that system a little bit. We're not going to really see a hurricane out of that, but certainly organized area of thunderstorms with that. And hurricane center outlook. There we go. This is this disturbance they're tracking. And then we've got tropical stormy and way out in the Atlantic, and we can bet that that's going to be recurving to the north. So 40 to 45 mile an hour winds with that. Okay, I forgot to launch the polling thing in GR level 2, so I'll get that started here. Okay, wasted a little bit of time with that, but anyway, that'll give us more of a chance to look at these other charts. 5-day outlook for the tropics. Looking like that. We've got a new easterly wave Hang on. There we go. I'm playing a little bit of looks like solitaire with all these windows on my screen. I've probably got about 8 windows with this live cast, so I probably need to get a third monitor here. But there's our next easterly wave coming off of the Atlantic coast, or the African coast. So that's going to be heading, I guess with this trajectory, that's going to be maybe taking aim on Bermuda or the Bermuda Triangle there. We'll see what happens with that. And then they developed this disturbance, very slight northward movement on that towards the Savannah area over the next 24 hours, looks like. So here's our precipitation south of, this is going to be south of Falls City toward the Fort Leavenworth area to Ontario, Kansas. Looks pretty, looks kind of disorganized. Not much in the way of severe weather here. You remember from these previous webcasts, we like to look at strong reflectivity gradients on the inflow side. So we like to see higher reflectivities way down here. And we're not seeing that tonight. So these are just going to be garden variety storms, and they'll continue pushing east into the St. Joseph area and Atchison, Kansas. And we'll just grab the tops on that, see what we're looking at in 34,000 feet. So that's, yeah, that's definitely going to be garden variety there. And let's go ahead and pull up the Jacksonville radar and see what's offshore. I'll let you see what I'm doing here. Jacksonville. It's like we got one advisory off the coast of Georgia here. That's going to be a marine weather statement. So it's probably just a warning there to anybody out on the waters getting caught in this mess here. So we'll wait for that to come up and see if we can get a tighter satellite image. So I'm going to load up the, let's see, which sector are we going to pick here? Yeah, the Tampa sector. I'm going to pick up the color infrared, and we'll get a closer look on these storms here. So there we go. You can see where we have the very coldest tops here. These are going to be the strong updrafts associated with these cells here. So you can use these to pinpoint where the severe weather is. And the rest of this is kind of indeterminate. This could be rain, could be just anvil material. So we're mainly focusing on the coldest cloud tops right there. And it looks like most of this is probably kind of low topped and mostly offshore. So I may be mistaken on those 60,000 foot tops. Let's see here. Or maybe not. I jumped in here on the 2.4 tilt, so yeah, these tops are running, well, we got some out at about 45 to 50,000 feet offshore. Yeah, this one's about 50,000 feet. So these are some pretty decent storms. There we go. You can see some evidence of a little spiral band structure here. See that right there? So that could have been a tropical storm, but couldn't quite make it. And let's see what kind of movement we're looking at on that. Classic tropical storm rotation. Of course, this isn't a tropical storm yet, but it's got that evidence of spiraling right there. So a little bit of fun there for the Jacksonville, Savannah area for the next day or so. So what are we looking at for the forecast? This time of year I like to look at the precipitable water and pressure. So let's see what it's got going here. Starting out at the current hour, we've got high pressure over the Dakotas. And here's the cold front coming into the Central Plains. And just offshore, got a little area of very rich moisture. Some of that is feeding that tropical disturbance over the Jacksonville area. And up north, it looks like we have low pressure developing in the Northwest Territories area here. So you see that right there? That's a new low coming together. Very deep low there near Manitoba. So we're going to watch for that to possibly drag some polar air south out of the Arctic regions. So let's see here, looking down south, looks like this high pressure area slides to the east, and we just get kind of a backdoor front here in Texas. And this next round of moisture is going to make it up for the weekend around Thursday to Friday. So moving forward, getting a couple waves coming into Texas here. And it looks like we have a new low developing up in northern Kansas, not Kansas, Canada. So this will be, looks like we got some weather starting to come together up there. Maybe it's like a lot of rain and some disturbances working through there. Down in Texas, we're getting just kind of this very deep tropical flow coming off the Gulf. And then getting out to 168 hours, look at that. High pressure polar air coming down from Canada. So this is on its way south on the 21st. Pretty deep, not very deep, just kind of a regular, looks like regular intensity low pressure system coming off Lake Superior. Then we get our shot of polar air coming in here around the 23rd into the Central Plains. Looks like it's got some pretty good northerly flow through Texas around Sunday the 25th. So this is getting way out there. And getting to the end of this forecast, there comes the bulk of the polar air into the central U.S. And things stay pretty stormy up there in Alaska. Look at that, a 968 millibar low. What is 968? 968 millibars in inches. (968) divided by 33.8636 will give us inches. We get 28.58 inches of mercury, so that's going to bring your barometer way down there. Very deep low there. That's pretty cool there. But we are getting into that season, getting towards fall, and things are going to become very active here across North America, and we should have plenty to look at. And we'll start using some of the Canadian models and the CMWF and really get a look at these systems. But for now, things are kind of stagnant, and we'll just wait for the next weather action to move in here. It looks like that's going to be this weekend. Okay, I think that's about all I got for today. I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you tomorrow at the same time.